Ron? 30 seconds and say we
Turn
can.
my brain off.
Good job. Good morning. Officially call this meeting of the Seneca County Board of Commissioners to order for November 1st. Starts with the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Commissioner Kirschner is going to lead us with a prayer.
Please join me for a short prayer. Heavenly Father, you said, knock and the door shall be answered. We are here asking today for your wisdom and guidance in the proceedings that we are about to have. This is a special day in that it's All Saints' Day. Please help us remember all those who have passed. And if we're looking for a hero in this day and age, let us look to those from the past who have been righteous with you and lived in your way and who are now with you. We ask all this through your Son, our Lord. Amen.
Amen.
Roll call, please.
Thank you.
Commissioner Stacy,
Here.
Commissioner Zoller,
Here.
Commissioner Kirchner.
Here.
We'll have the signing of the journal, and then I'll accept a motion to approve the digital audio video recording of the previous board session from Tuesday, October 25th.
Actually, it should be Thursday, October 27th.
Yeah, let's try that. How about Thursday, October 27th? Good catch.
So moved.
Seconded.
The motion is second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion approved. Any adjustments to the printed agenda?
Just briefly, we've had a request for revolving loan fund, and I want to just make a statement there.
Okay, that'd be older than me. Doesn't
Oh,
matter.
that'd be new.
Yeah, okay. Oh, sorry. Did you have anything, Stacy and Nicole? All right. Then old business. First item listed is Hope Roy's shop, or rental.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what we have here. We have an offer from council, from the owner of Hope Roy's, to get her to vacate that premises. As you know, we would like to have possession of that, or need to have possession of that by the first working day of next year, so that we can convert that space into the Board of Elections. The offer is this, from her council. She would like us to waive November and December rents and pay her expenses for moving up to $5,000. We have had conversations with our council, prosecutor's office, and if we would consider anything, we would want to include a hold harmless agreement, holding the county harmless for any further action. We would also stipulate in that agreement, if we decided to go that way, that if the building is not available and completely ready for renovation by the first working day of January 2017, that the agreement would be null and void. In other words, she would owe us the 2 months' rent, and she would owe us for any moving expenses that we might have paid. So, and along with whatever other covenants would be important to cover for that, to make sure that we're covered. So, the reason that this is a proposal that I think we should at least entertain is that it would avoid any future problems. It would allow us to have a certain reasonable percentage of thought that we would be in that building the first part of the year as we need to be, and hopefully avoid any conflicts that might occur as a result of that building not being empty. So it's a matter for discussion, I suppose, at this point.
I know with working with Encompass at the engineering specs, bid specs, I guess whichever you call it, to get that prepared to go out, we're anticipating to receive that. In fact, I fired her off an email this morning seeing this on the agenda, to be getting that very soon. I know in the discussions that I had with the Board of Election Directors, Director, Deputy Director, and information I fed back to Encompass was that ideal move time because of the May primary is going to be June 1st. Encompass is anticipating needing a 3-month window for that rehab of the space, so April, or March, April, May. Ideal might be February, March, April, but we also are gonna have some work to do in advance of that, because to keep the cost, you know, we're hoping as these, you know, I haven't seen it yet, but down, is to possibly use the corrections program to do removal of some of the stuff that, you know, the ceiling change and that, some of those things that we can do to save some money. So, all of those things, it's certainly something we gotta consider. I'm personally think if we did something on rent, her monthly rent is $1,694. You know, 2 for 1, I don't know, something like that. Money for the moving expense when her lease says she has to be out, like I question, feel like I'm negotiating with ourselves, even though it was her counsel that called you.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, my only response to that is, and again, I'm absolutely neutral about what we decide here, but my only response to that is that we would, if there is a situation in which we need to remove the tenant, it would be extremely expensive to get that done as a matter of time. We would lose however much time it would take to go through that process, and we would lose whatever time it took for the prosecutor to handle the paperwork that's involved with that. Put a value on that. I don't know what that value is, but it certainly has some monetary value.
We are in a very, very difficult situation in my mind. We have a county facility, a building, and we have a very successful business that is renting that building. And, you know, I certainly like to have that additional income, but we have to understand as commissioners, our first responsibility is to departments that are within the county. With that being said, you know, I personally have made the tenant aware some 2.5 years ago of our intent that when the lease expires, and we have to all realize that the lease will expire at the end of this year, that our intent was to utilize that facility for other county departments. We understand, we as the Board of Commissioners, we understand that the Board of Elections has been applying a lot of pressure on us to give them additional space, and in fact, I hate to say this, but threatened even a lawsuit. So we are in a very difficult situation. I'm repeating myself here, but we have a very successful business. I hate to vacate them. Also, I understand that their business is very much Christmas oriented, and during that time of year, it's her busy time. So I'm going to make a proposal here, and I understand what her counsel has suggested is 2 free months rent, and that we would somehow or other assist in the moving expenses. I don't like that third part of I don't like any of it, but yet we have to be good stewards and a successful business and a taxpayer and all this and all that. We have to be understanding. My recommendation would be that we would give her November, December, and January's free rent. And the reason for that is then she could utilize the Christmas season, have an after Christmas sale, going out of business sale. What is it amount that she's going through her busiest season of the year, and then right at the end of it, she's got a week to get out. I think that may be asking a little too much. Forego any of the moving expenses, but she would have to do that on her own, but we would give her this November, December, and January. Based on what you're telling me, Commissioner Stacy, is that Encompass is telling us that they're gonna need about 3 months to remodel the place, to renovate the place, and being that the next major election is not coming up until till when?
Well, it's May, and they don't wanna move until after that. They wanna be prepared to move after they certify the May primary.
Okay,
So that'd
okay.
be late May.
So we could renovate the place, that would give us February, March, and April. Hold the primary, which is, I hate to say it, is less of an election than what they're going through now. Do that in May, and then they could move in June and be ready for the fall election in November.
If I may, here's the problem I have with that. We have, as you had said earlier, Commissioner, 2.5 years ago, you had a conversation with her. Okay, we have written her a letter every month for the past 12 months.
Not 12 months, the last half of the year. We gave her a written notice at the beginning of the year and then the last 6
So,
months of the year.
Every 30 days, we are telling her the time is approaching, the time is approaching. I don't, I think that we have to draw the line in the sand at some point. My concern about that proposal is that if she does indeed stay for January, and if there is some concern about at the end of January not being clear, and we have to take some action, now we're probably 60 days out with proceedings, et cetera. So now you're February, March, before anything can happen. And I just think that we have said so many times that December 31st is the date that we need to stay with that number. We had offered earlier for her to get out of there and waive some additional rent so that she could be in a new location for the Christmas season. She opted not to do that. That's her decision. And so the consequences of that decision are that she will have to be moving at a busy time. Again, knowing that 2.5 years ago. And
I certainly appreciate where you're coming from there. I mean, it's a difficult situation here, but,
And her current lease is done the end of the year, so rather than make a date change that's looking like we're extending the lease, I'd rather, if we're doing something, deal with what we have without doing that part of it. I don't want to extend it.
if the decision is to prolong it for another month, we would certainly have to put a caveat in there. If she's not vacated, then she's responsible for November, December, January's rent. Kind of the proposal that you're talking about, Commissioner Kirschner, with the exclusion is we wouldn't compensate her for any moving expenses, and that moving expenses would now be just transferred over to another month. That would allow her for more of a orderly transition of the Christmas season and after Christmas sale and taking advantage of the retail time of the year. I get what it is. I don't like where we're at. I don't like where we're at, but yet we seem to have three different opinions
Do
up
we
here.
want to, I'll think about it and come back Tuesday, or do we want to get to anything? I mean,
the problem is we're
Yeah, I know.
February, we're November 1st
We're
today.
November 1st
so-
already.
So we need to bring this to some type of a solution.
would a week after, just an extra week after, after the first of the year to get out, I just don't like the moving expense thing bothers me. Waiving a month's rent or something is,
Can we do a hybrid, a hybrid there?
Sounds like it. We can do anything that's reasonable. Again, we're trying to be as reasonable as we can. At least from my chair, I really feel that we have been more than reasonable with notifications and with an attempts. We've had people go down at our request to show her other spaces, to give her a tour of the downtown, to suggest that, we might pay some of the moving expense to try to get it out of there. So, I guess the compromise from my standpoint, and I'm not sure that we're all on board with this, would be to give her to January 15th, and again, removing that line in the sand, to give her till January 15th and waive the rents for December and January. That would be my hybrid. at this
November?
point.
I'm just looking at the
December,
calendar, we
January?
got the first to the 7th, is Sunday to
December and
Saturday, do
Jan-
you want to go with the Saturday? I mean, that's the January calendar.
So
first to the
January
7th.
14th, which is a Saturday, that we have possession of the property by the 16th, which is a Monday.
But again, the caveat in there, if she does not vacate,
The
that the rent goes back retroactive.
Okay.
I could buy into that.
So by the way.
that proposal.
Okay. If we would waive at this point, the hybrid, November, December, and half, since she will be there half of January rent. And again, it is due and payable if the place is not completely ready for our occupancy by, what'd you say, January?
January 16th
By January
is
16th.
actually Martin Luther King Day, but that is the Monday.
Okay, by January 16th. I can, that could be something, but I'm gonna want some covenants signed in that agreement that holds the county harmless for any future action. And also that is firm in that if it isn't available by the 16th, that those rents are due retroactively and they're due immediately.
So I guess at this point, we would need to ask the prosecutor's office to draw this up and then we can
Pending,
act on it.
pending the
once
agreement
we-
from the prosecutor, yeah.
or so how would we-
So I'll try to put that in the form of a motion. The motion is that we waive November, December, and whatever part of January she's in there from a rental standpoint, and that we have the prosecutor review it for covenants that protect the county to recover that money if it isn't available and hold us harmless from any future action,
And available by the 16th.
available by the 16th.
If that's your proposal, I would second that proposal.
It is.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor and second. Waive the rent of November, December, and the extended time period to January 15th, assuming we have full possession of the space by January 16th.
Do you want to pass the motion before we offer it to her? To see if she's gonna accept this. If we pass the motion, we're gonna have to rescind the resolution if she doesn't accept it.
I will move that I will change the motion to say that we offer this proposal to her. I won't make it a motion that we actually do, but we offer it to her for her review, and we will have it reviewed by the prosecutor.
Are you okay if it's just
And
suggesting
I
it's an
would
offer?
second that.
Okay, so we'll
But-
withdraw the motion in the second, but just that this is an offer we get made, and then we act accordingly after we.
We are not setting a precedence here. I'm not sure if, I know the county does rent some other space out. We're not setting the precedence here, by any means. When the lease is up for individuals and they're not renewing the lease, they gotta be out. Period. This is not a precedent. This is over and above to try to help the individual through, because of her retail trade in the Christmas season.
Well, and like I said, now we have, way back when we talked about that, we really didn't know the move and the space, and now that we're kind of commitment of the Board of Elections going there, and when the move is going to work best for them because of so forth.
Well, we are by definition, whenever we do something like this, we're setting precedent. So,
Yeah.
we can't, you can't say you're not setting precedent when you take action.
Yeah, other than we don't have any other,
I don't wanna open the floodgates.
any other rental for retail out there at this point.
Do we have any other private?
Not
No,
retail.
we do not retail.
Okay.
All right, so then, nothing further
Roll
with
call
that?
then, no.
Well, it's not a vote, so it just, we don't need to vote on it, just a recommendation that we'll get it
Okay.
offered, written up and offered.
And then if she accepts it, we'll do the amendment
Yeah.
with the language in there. Yep.
I would ask,
To get today or
someone
read it
to
today?
call our council.
Yep.
I'll call her after.
Let him know.
All right, Justice Center update. The weekly update that we received end of last week or has been posted.
Yep.
I forgot to bring it in here with me, it's on my desk, but anything else for that anybody wants to add? Okay. We are still awaiting GMP2 final wording from the legal counsel to.
I have a resolution that's.
We do?
Yes.
Okay, so we are good with that.
Yes, yep, that's on the agenda.
Okay. I didn't, as of yesterday, I never had that, so.
Yeah.
Still pending prosecutor's approval, but we're gonna go ahead and
Okay.
pass it pending.
All right. Nothing else for old business? Begin with the new business then? Oh, we got the revolving loan fund we added.
Yeah, just very briefly, there was a request that came down through the Fostoria Regional, or revolving loan fund to ask if we wanted to participate. with a request, and after some investigation, I just didn't feel that it was something that we wanted to get involved with the revolving loan fund. So it was best that we pass on this particular one, even though it is our function to loan money for various businesses to help them expand and so forth. I just didn't feel that this particular situation warranted that. So I made a recommendation back that we not go any further on this. And I notified Fostoria of that interest.
All right.
Judge, do you know if there's a county seal, a seal that is for the county? Have you ever seen a seal that is just for Seneca County? Not specific offices, but,
No.
okay. Thank you. I've checked all the offices. They all have their own individual seal, but I haven't been able to locate one that is specifically a Seneca County seal.
Not that I'm aware of.
In the old courthouse somewhere along the way, there was something that.
You haven't seen it, or you aren't aware there is one?
Well, I have seen versions of what we
Okay.
thought might be a seal.
Okay.
But it looks more like a penguin, so.
The engineer has something that he utilizes. A lot of folks use the state seal and, deviate from that a little bit by putting, their office name around it, et cetera, in Tiffin, Ohio, or Seneca County. And I know I mentioned to Commissioner Kirsch this morning that I believe it's Commissioner Zoller who's on the branding committee, and I didn't know if he'd have some good input after, I don't know where that's at and when that, but might be something to consider if we're going to create something.
It appears to me that we've had
Results back.
various and sundry things that we've used. When we do a proclamation, we use a seal that really is, it's a seal, but it's not the official seal of the county. So it would seem to me that it would be good to have that someplace along the way. We're trying to produce a piece of art for the new courthouse. They want to include the county seal in that, and we scurry in trying to find one.
Okay. There's one we've been using, but I have no idea whether it's official. That's the.
Yeah, I'll check it before you leave here and see if it's the same one we have here.
Okay. Well,
I guess then the bill vouchers.
Bill vouchers batches 22814, 22995 through 23,000 and 23,001. We have an appropriation adjustment for the Soil and Water Conservation District. She is moving from various lines to her contract services. Total amount $18,977.71. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations for the general fund. This is at the request of the Board of Elections. With the presidential election year, they have a need for more ballots, on-demand ballots, envelopes, etc. For this election. So they've asked for an additional $3,500. I have an appropriation adjustment within the M&R fund. He's moving a total of $50,000 from looks like his gasoline lines into his equipment, contract projects, and concrete line. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriations to the general fund, putting $3,235 into the public assistance line. Resolution authorizing a fund advance repayment from the VOCA Expansion Grant Fund. The repayments for $15,000 to the general fund. I have a supplement to the permanent appropriation to the real estate assessment fund. This is at the request of the auditor. She wants to put an additional $6,927 into her salary Medicare PRS line. She said that she needed the addition. She forgot to include the GIS new employee portion out of that fund and also some cross-training. And I have a resolution authorizing amendment number 2 for the guaranteed maximum price for the building trades GMP 2 Justice Center pending prosecutor's approval. The total in the GMP 2 as the draft was sent to the attorneys was $11,965,844.
Does that include FF&E or does not include?
Does not.
Does not.
And that's all I have.
All right. Do I have a motion?
I will so move.
Seconded.
Motion is second to approve the bill vouchers and resolutions as presented. Any comments, questions, or concerns? Seeing none, call the roll, please.
Commissioner Kirschner?
Yes.
Commissioner Zoller?
Yes.
Commissioner Stacy?
Yes, all approved, thank you. All right, we have, bid opening at 10:30, so we can't quite do that yet. We've got a few minutes for that. So at this time, we could go to citizens' comments and entertain any comments or questions from citizens present. If there's anything.
At the Corporate 79 South Washington.
The third?
Oh, okay, bingo.
Yeah, the third building. It's the renovation bids for the, you can go ahead with those if you want, I just didn't get them done. The space for prosecutor's office and services. So,
How long do we think executive session will take?
we probably do that in 5 minutes if we want to do that
Why don't we adjourn, I'll move that we adjourn executive session
for the purposes of personnel.
for the purpose of personnel.
Since it's supposed to be stated. Go ahead, second.
Yes.
All right, a motion and a second to go into executive session for this purpose of personnel.
Okay.
We do, so
Go
it's
to the back.
10:25, yeah, we'll go to the back.